Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Thursday, February 15th, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is LaCroix Poppy himself, Tim Gettys.
It's a big X day, Blessing.
The big X
So
day.
much X stuff going on. We have the X-Men 97 trailer that just dropped. We have the Xbox business update.
Yep.
Debatably one of the most important moments in video game news history.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
You know,
My ex texted me this morning. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it though. No, it's going to be a big day here at Kind of Funny. I'm sure we'll get into all of that in just a little bit. But how are you feeling? Where's the energy levels at?
I'm going in being like, we'll get what we get, right? Because like I've run the gamut of, all right, they're not going to say anything. Like there's only so much that they can say on a business level in terms of, oh, we're going to put Starfield on PlayStation. I don't think they're going to say that necessarily. I think the most we get in terms of like solid detail, like good detail, is Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment coming to PlayStation. But even then, right, like that, and then them explaining the thoughts behind it, right? I think at the very least is interesting.
Totally.
It's either going to be that or like, if it's not that, then what is it? I mean, like, that's the thing is the mystery is the thing that's killing me for it.
I'm right there with you. I do think that, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this a lot in the next couple hours as we get into it, and then, of course, breaking it down after. But I'm with you that I do think it's going to be a step, but not like a full sprint forward into everything we've
But also, it's a
about.
podcast, right? Like, if it's a 45-minute to an hour-long discussion between Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer, and who was the third one? Matt Booty?
Yeah, man.
Like, what are you going to talk about for an hour? Because you can only say, Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment are coming to PlayStation 5 and Switch. That's about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
What does the other 59 minutes and 50 seconds look like?
Well, explaining the how and why, and then I do also think explaining trying to quell any fears people have about other games, maybe mentioning examples of games that they're not going to put the strategy on, things like that. I don't know. But like, you're right. Like there's enough time, and the three of them being together to talk about all this, like, no matter what happens, it's going to be incredibly interesting and unprecedented. We haven't ever seen something like this. So I think that there's a lot of pressure on them to get it right. And that's going to be something that we all watch together live as a group.
7,000 screaming fans.
Oh, yeah.
I like the suit a lot.
Thank you.
This is
Xbox
fresh.
Business Day, everybody.
Rocking the green and like the black shirt under it with the chain. It all comes together very well.
Thank you.
And then also, did you like do your hair also?
I did get a haircut.
Okay, I was gonna say like
I've been overdue. So I did it for you, Xbox.
Did it for Xbox. Tim, enough about all that.
Enough.
Let's talk about every screen being an Xbox. What's up with the February Direct and more, because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy news you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and on podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, support us with the Kind of Funny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free, watch us record them live, and get a daily exclusive show. For a chance to be a part of the show, submit your thoughts and opinions as YouTube super chats as we go. Housekeeping for you. Tim, tell me how today's going to go.
Today's about to be an extremely extreme, I don't even know any other X words. I fucked that up. An extreme escape.
Extravagant.
I know escape doesn't have an X.
Exciting.
It's going to be exciting, everyone. We're going to be hanging out all day together, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube. I would love if you would just hang out and chill with us, because right now we're doing Games Daily. But right after this, we're going to react to the X-Men 97 trailer. We haven't seen it. I'm very, very excited to see this. A lot of hype has been going into it, so we're going to react to that. If you're watching on Twitch, you can just watch the entire way through and just stay where you are, and you'll be fine. If you're on YouTube, you might need to jump around a little bit. But we're just going to attach the X-Men reaction to Games Daily. Just to keep things as simple as possible without having to jump to the other YouTube channel for Kind of Funny. Things are complicated, everybody. So let me start from the top on what's going down here. Games Daily goes into X-Men trailer reaction. That'll go into our little pre-show for the Xbox business update. We'll talk for maybe 30 minutes about what our final predictions, what we think is going to go on. Then we will react to the Xbox business update podcast. We'll have closed captions up if that's an option. Obviously, reacting to a podcast is a bit out of the norm, but we got to do it for this one. So we'll be there. If you want to watch it without anybody saying anything, you can watch it by yourself,
watch the podcast.
But if you want to watch it with us,
that's the thing I don't want to hear. If you come into the thing and you're like, oh, why are they talking over the people talking? It's like, that's what you're here for. Yeah. We can't stay silent for an hour while we watch it. Totally. And so watch the thing first if you want to hear them talk, and then come watch ours again.
Exactly. But we will be here live watching it together. So if you want to join us for that, you can. And then after that, we'll be doing the Xcast breakdown of what we just saw. Hopefully it's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be a great day, everyone. So hang out on Twitch, bop around to the different youtube.com/kindoffunnygames links. It'll make sense. We'll remind you guys a million times, but it's going to be a big one.
You know what would be even more make today even more special is if Nintendo came out and announced the NX2.
Oh my god!
They're like, we're adding one more X to the equation.
Oh god! I was like, why are you referring to it as the NX2?
Oh yeah. No, put your X's up.
Yeah,
Throw the X's up, everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's hilarious.
You can do this too.
Yeah.
Get the shoulder going. A new Kind of Funny podcast is up titled "Would You Throw a Football at a 2-Year-Old?" That's up.
I love what
at
we do here.
YouTube.com/kindoffunny. The Hulk Hogan versus The Rock episode of WWE Wrestlemania in review is up over on youtube.com/kindoffunny. And then a fun one, CD Projekt Red will be hosting a special panel during PAX East 2024 titled Code, Sweat, and Cheers, How We Made Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, with our very own Blessing Adeoye Jr. moderating the discussion. That is me. If you're at PAX East, come hang out March 23rd, 2024 at 3:30 p.m. local time in the main theater of the Boston Convention Center and Exhibition Center. But even if you aren't, you can watch it at home on the official PAX East Twitch channel.
Can we just stop for a second, everybody? Shout out the boy, Blessing Adeoye Jr., hosting a Cyberpunk panel in the main theater of PAX East.
It's what I do, Tim.
It's
you know?
what you
it's
do,
what I do.
man.
It's also how you organize.
Saturday.
it's also the deals that you be making.
What is it? What we said?
March 23rd.
March 23rd. It's a Saturday. It's a Saturday. Saturday. If you're at PAX East, you know you're going to want to go see Bless. You know you're going to want to hear about Cyberpunk and all the cool stuff that they did with Phantom Liberty. And if you're at home, you can just watch on stream. It's going to be great. But support. It's going to be an awesome time. I'm very proud of you. It's going to be very
Everybody tweet at Idris Elba, tell him to come through and hang out.
Yeah.
March 23rd in Boston. Tell him to come through. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Carl Jacobs, Streaking Ain't Easy, and Delaney Twining. Today we're brought to you by Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Factor, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 6 stories today.
A baker's dozen!
Starting with our number one. It's a Big X Day. So, of course, we got to start off with some Xbox news. Ahead of its business update, Microsoft reportedly told staff every screen is an Xbox. This comes from Andy Robinson at VGC. I'm reading this off an Xbox right now.
I fucking love
I got
this.
an Xbox in my pocket. Microsoft reportedly told employees that it views every screen as an Xbox ahead of a much anticipated business update. A recent internal town hall meeting, which has been reported on previously, reportedly saw Xbox President Sarah Bond proclaim that every screen is an Xbox, according to a new account by Inverse. Bond is then said to have discussed Xbox's strategy of existing on multiple kinds of devices and its greater ambitions of becoming the #1 cross-platform gaming company. To illustrate the idea of Xbox on every screen, Bond reportedly showed images of breakout Xbox and PC hit Palworld running on tablets, TV screens, monitors, and handheld devices. Quote, internally, employees expressed surprise at seeing so much Palworld and joked about the possibility of an Xbox handheld, which has also been rumored, end quote, according to Inverse.
Here's where I want to start, Bless. This entire article leaves me a bit perplexed.
Okay.
Because timing-wise, I understand this. Headline-wise, and just the conversation, of course, any little nugget that drops, we're going to want to talk about. But what is the news here? Because this is what Xbox has been doing for a decade.
That's my thing is there's not news here.
Yeah,
I think this is more so like coming off of the conversations we've been having and sort of a hey, like going into the Xbox business update, here's the latest thing that Sarah Bond just said about this, right? It's a framing device, I think.
But what I think is interesting about that is, like, obviously this has been their strategy. I think in light of recent news, applying the recent news to the strategy, I think is even more interesting because there's a very good business proposition for millions and millions of gamers and millions of people that could be gamers to be able to play all the Xbox games on any screen they want, because every screen is an Xbox. The idea that you don't need an actual Xbox to be able to play Xbox games is amazing and something that they've been not just talking about, but doing for a very long time. But what surprises me here is the quote, internally, employees expressed surprise at seeing so much Palworld and joked about the possibility of an Xbox handheld, which has also been rumored. I don't understand the correlation there. Like you see Palworld and you're like, handheld?
I think it goes back to the like Sarah Bond busting out the images of Palworld on every screen and going like, this is an Xbox. This is an
Yeah.
Xbox. They're playing Power World in the Xbox app on your iPad thing, which I don't even know if iPad has an Xbox
But
app.
all that makes sense to me. Like,
Yeah.
and like, using Power World, I get why that's a little weird, just because it's not an Xbox game. But I think that they're trying to prove the point of like, look, Xbox has value. Where like because of Game Pass, this game is now associated with Xbox on console. So like, we won that. That's great. Here's a win from us. But how? I don't understand the leap to the handheld. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're talking about, and I wonder, like, maybe, I mean, it's tough when this is VGC referencing Inverse, which is referencing their own sources.
Yeah.
I wonder what their own sources know, right? I wonder if this is a thing where, oh yeah, they're also joking about it because there have been conversations, or because like when Power World being on Game Pass, we've talked about doing a Game Pass hand. Like, I think there's information that we're not privy to that is maybe informing some of the reaction, but also I think that could be interesting, right? Like we've talked about Xbox in place, like everybody doing a handheld.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Handhelds have become dope again.
I mean, I think that there's at this point, I think so much has changed in the last year, but like with how Xbox is doing stuff, even before we see this business update, I am now at the point that I think it's inevitable that we will get an Xbox handheld. What that looks like, I don't think is anything close to a PlayStation Vita or a Game Boy. I do think it is
Also to a Steam Deck.
a Steam Deck,
Yeah.
but Windows based and made for Xbox and Game Pass. And
When do we get it?
I don't know. I mean, the thing about that is because Microsoft are who they are, which is a giant business that isn't just video games, like they make computers. They already do this. They make laptops. They have the whole Surface line. Like, I feel like at any moment they could just be like, oh yeah, it's here. Like, I don't know if it's going to be the most exciting
Xbox
thing
Surface
in the world. I mean, real talk, I hate when they like overbrand things that way and like try to make it all work, because it rarely does. But Surface is a brand that has not went away, right? Surface is a brand that they've committed to.
This guy right here.
There it is.
I love this thing.
Yeah, I don't think that they do that. I mean, if anything, it's, I think, funny that like the Xbox is the brand that at the end of the day, I imagine is going to reign supreme, like in terms of like they're not going to let that go, even though it's silly to say Xbox is every screen. It's like, well, the screen's not a box. You know what I mean? But like, we're all adults.
Yeah,
We can
Netflix
understand.
is every screen.
Yeah,
you know, like Hulu is every screen. But also I think it helps inform again, like what they're talking about. I think the problem that Xbox is faced with, and this is going to go to what this podcast they're about to do probably is, right? And like, and also a big challenge that they're going to have going forward for the next year, the next few years, all this stuff is messaging. How do we continue to convey to our audience who we are as our identity in Xbox? Because they've been like you mentioned, right? We read through this article, it's a little bit perplexing because we go, what is the news here? But I think the problem with it is that this is news that we keep talking about that people still aren't grasping to. Like, there's enough people that we see on Twitter, on social media. I think the casual audience, like, and this is me like trying to cast like, oh man, social media doesn't listen. But even the people I talk to in my real life, where I've had conversations with friends who work in the games industry that are like, yeah, what's Xbox doing? Like, people don't understand, and they really got to communicate it, because we've not seen it done like this before, right? Like, we're so used to the way it's been historically with Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. Hey, we make boxes, we make exclusive games that are going to help sell those boxes, and that's the way it goes. Whoever sells in those boxes wins. That's not how it is anymore, right? And like, Xbox, Sarah Bond here saying every screen is an Xbox is her trying to really communicate the game is changing. It is not about the boxes. Like, the boxes are a part of the family, but if we get people playing Xbox on their Surface or on their on their TV, or like the Samsung Smart TV via streaming or whatever it is, right? I think they have to keep reiterating it, and they have to keep communicating it. I think they also have to experiment with how they communicate it, right? And like, figure out what are the best ways to make people understand. So that's what I think even makes this podcast we're going into so much more interesting, is that they have an hour, probably. I don't know how long they said.
I mean, I've been looking back at the history of the Xbox podcast. They tend to be closer to that 30-minute mark.
30 minutes? Okay.
34 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
So
let's say they have 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, if it's that long, to communicate and like really try to like enlighten their audience on what they're doing here, because I think so many people just don't get it.
Yeah. I'm fucking excited, Bless. Like, this is crazy, man. Like, I'm so interested in how this all goes down, and we're not gonna have to wait too long to find out. But like you were saying, I agree with you. Like, I don't expect this to like be the the end of a discussion or like even the beginning of a new discussion.
Yeah.
I think
this is part of them having to reiterate
Yep.
over and over and over again. Hey, this is what Xbox is. Like, we have the boxes that you can buy, but you can play Xbox anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Xbox Play Anywhere has been a thing for years and years and years. They are going hard with that. And so we'll see. We'll see how they communicate it today. But Tim, speaking of things we're going to have to wait a long time for, seemingly. Story number 2. What's up with this Nintendo Direct?
very interesting.
So
I love it.
of course, we've heard the rumors of Nintendo Direct from multiple sources. One of those sources being Jeff Grubb, who in January was talking about how we're going to see one in weeks probably. Somebody tweeted out earlier today, this is Deathbringer on Twitter. They said, in reply to Jeff, what's going on with the Direct? Postponed? Canceled? Savings for Switch 2 reveal? Question mark. Jeff.
Can you stop?
Yeah.
Kevin, can you do me a favor? Can you read Jeff Grubb's quote tweet here?
Okay. I know no one wants to hear this, but just like when the Queen died, this is real. I heard earlier this week that they were discussing moving the Direct because of the Xbox business update. I've never known the date for sure. I've only heard by the middle of February.
I just really wanted Kevin to say that just like when the Queen died.
Yeah. When I tell you, I woke up and I saw the tweet and I said, like, I did not know where it was going. I just saw a tweet from Jeff Grubb saying, I know no one wants to hear this, but just like when the Queen died, and I was like, what the fuck is he about to say?
What?
And then he was like, I heard that they're moving it because of the Xbox business update. Which, Tim, does that make sense to you?
You know, it does and it doesn't. Like, again, we're in unprecedented times, and it's silly that I've been saying that so often recently, but I feel like it's more applicable than it ever has been, where things just keep happening that we've never seen before. Where before we would not see the big three kind of move or shift based on the others' plans. They would kind of just like dig their heels in and be like, nah. And even as recent as last year, I want to say 2 years ago, like Sony would announce something and then Nintendo would be like, yeah, we're going to do that day too. And then just be a state of play and a direct on the same day. And it's like, we are all like, why are you doing this? Like, surely you guys are communicating or talking to each other. And I think as we've seen the shift from there's E3, everyone's here. Everyone kind of has their dedicated spot that it felt like it was like a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nintendo's doing Tuesday night.
PlayStation's doing like Monday morning. Xbox
whatever it
doing,
is. Yeah. So they have their spots. They know what they're doing. And it's like, cool. We can stay in our lanes and we understand what we're working with here. But in the day of like publisher-owned showcases, it's kind of like at any moment, anything can be announced. And because of that, it feels like there is a endless stream of rumors or even if it's not rumors, it's well-educated guesses based on patterns of, well, there's always a direct in February. So there's probably going to be one this year, right? So you can start, like, the fervor that starts going around.
Are people seeing, is this like
I was just showing you guys
that's so
Thank
funny.
You. Thank you. But there's like a fervor of like, oh, when's the next direct? When's the next direct? Because like we've been like subconsciously trained that a direct is coming, right? So there has to be a direct. Because there are games to talk about, right? Would Nintendo hear this Xbox news and change their plans? I don't think the old Nintendo would have.
But what if Nintendo knows that Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment is coming to Nintendo?
I mean, that is huge, right?
Yeah.
And like, so that's the thing. Yeah. That's where it gets really sticky for me because that seems the other way too much like they're working together more than I expect that they are.
For sure.
Where like if they were to have announced like, oh yeah, there's a Nintendo Direct today, and it's like we look at it like, are they really about to announce Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment on Switch like this way? That'd be insane and brilliant. They're not going to do that. That seems just like way too overly complicated, and also it'll get all of us thinking of like, what are they doing here? The other, I think, more realistic thing at this point is, what if there isn't a Direct? And what if we got the Princess Peach Showtime trailer like yesterday? Was it? And that was a surprise, right? Like, why would you do that?
There was also Splatoon. Andy did his Splatoon preview for like the roguelite mode.
Yeah, which to be fair, that was already covered in the last Direct. So, so it's like I guess I wouldn't really talk about it there. But I just am a partner showcase, a partner Direct at some point. I think is going to have to happen in the next month or two, just because of like partner agreements. That's just we've seen kind of a cadence of those things, but with where we're at now, I don't know. Maybe they kind of let Xbox deliver the news of these games coming to Switch and support socially and support via PR releases and things like that, without needing to like do their own direct because they know all eyes are going to be on this Xbox thing. And then I don't know what other games are there to talk about. We got Paper Mario. We got.
I mean, I think like third-party stuff would be the thing that comes to mind, right? And I think if that's the case, that's something that could wait for maybe later in February or March or whatever. Like we're being firmly in speculation station here, right? Like none of this is like 100% certainty. Thank you, Kevin. But yeah, like I'm with you that like Nintendo and Xbox are only going to work together to some extent, right? Like they're not going to be like, all right, we'll do our Switch or our Nintendo Direct to like align up with your thing so we can all hit on. Like I don't think that's how this works necessarily.
Well, sorry to cut you off, but I also think it's important to note that this was not Xbox's plan.
Oh, well, like in how so? The Xbox business update?
Yeah.
I think it was going to happen regardless.
You think that they were going to do it today?
Maybe.
I really don't.
Like according to Phil Spencer's wording, he said we've been planning a business update for you.
Yes. I mean, we'll see. And I would happily accept that I'm wrong about this. Mm-hmm. My read on the situation is that they were planning it. And this, like, because of all the leaks and stuff, it forced them to move their plans up and change their plans. I do not think their business update plan was for them to come out on the Xbox podcast on Thursday, February 15th. But
you don't think so?
I really don't. That doesn't feel like, but I mean, kudos to them if that was the plan. If they are trying to do something new and actually talk and have the leaders talk to each other and have that be the way that they get the information out there, I think that's really cool. That's something we've talked about for a long time of like wanting to see more of. But I don't think that this was the plan. Like I imagine that I just don't think that. I think the timing is not what they would have expected it to be, and because of that, I don't think Nintendo could have planned around that.
Yeah, I just think I could see a case where Nintendo was planning a smaller direct, and then saw the fervor on the internet, saw how like Xbox was about to make a big announcement type thing, and went, that's not the time. Like, we'll just postpone it because everybody's gonna be paying attention to this thing if we do our thing the same day, especially if it's a partner showcase where it's a bunch of third-party stuff and farming games. Like, no people aren't gonna pay attention to it as much. So what if we do it the week after or like in March or whatever it is? Like I could see that being the case. Yeah. But that's me being purely in speculation station.
I mean, look, just really looking at Nintendo and,
thank you.
And where they're at right now, it's like what's happening here? Because I know we've talked this to death, but with where we're at with Nintendo, we have Princess Peach next month. We have Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake sometime this year. Mm-hmm. We have Luigi's Mansion 2 being ported. And that's
what a weird year.
That's essentially
that's a bizarre year.
Oh, Mario versus Donkey Kong, which we just reviewed. You can check out our review on Gamescast. Yeah. But like that's where we're at. And then there's the two big looming questions. One, when are they announcing Switch 2? Mm-hmm. And two, what's up with Prime 4?
Okay, right? But how looming is that second question? I feel like Prime 4 is like I'm still convinced that we're still far off from it.
Well, so here's the thing though. I honestly don't have too much of a gut instinct on what's going to happen with Prime. At this point, I'm just like, you fucking tell me, because I can make a case for any argument. Yeah. My thing is it still a Switch game? Because if it's still a Switch game, they need to talk about it soon. If it's not still a Switch game, then I'm with you.
Okay,
like,
you're right. Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's like, is Prime 4 going to be the last big Switch game? Is it going to be crossover or whatever the hell? But even if it's that, they need to talk about it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So I do not think whatever direct we get here, they announce the Switch 2. I think that if there is a direct, it's the final Switch of direct.
When do they announce the Switch 2?
That's the big question. I mean, all the rumors right now that we're seeing that so far are just fucking rumors based on patterns and based on like some insider. I heard this from my uncle, that whatever, from people that tend to get things kind of right. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of fervor around before GDC, which is the end of March.
Okay, here I'm gonna take off. I'm taking off my jacket.
Oh, whoa! Oh my God! There, look at that! Look at everything we're working with here.
Kevin, do another speculation station. We're parking in speculation station for a second. So there's a show. Thank you, Kevin. There's a show that we do on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames that's called Game Showdown. Yes. It's a trivia show, right? Usually it's you, it's Greg, it's Andy. We have 3 teams. You guys are competing for points. I do multiple different games on there as the host. One of the games I do is this game called You're Wrong. In that game, I look at past news stories, I read through the news stories, and I put in like wrong things in there. You guys have to figure out like what parts of the news stories are falsified. in my journey of going through different news stories and finding like, all right, what are the interesting stories to like do here on the show? One of the ones I came across was Nintendo announces the NX. It was from 2016, I want to say. Yeah, because the Switch came out in 2017. And Tim, it was March 2016 because it was the end of the fiscal year. They announced they announced the NX as part of the end of the fiscal year, essentially saying, "Hey, we're coming out with this console in I think they said next year, and then look out for more info in the future."
100%.
Like that was pretty much all they said. But it was squarely about a year ahead of when they did it. Now, if we're thinking, let's say, assuming the Switch 2 is going to come out either this fall or early next year, I think both of us are probably on the side of this fall, though, right?
Yeah, we are.
They're going to talk about it soon.
Yeah.
They got to talk about, because like you're talking about announcing the console, you're talking about giving third parties and everybody like the leeway and freedom to be able to talk about their games that they're making for those consoles. Around here is the time that you would want to talk about it. I think GDC is a good bet because GDC is a big event, right? Like that's you don't think it's going to align with GDC?
No.
What do you think?
I think that's nothing to do with GDC. I'm just using GDC as a time frame.
Okay.
That mainly is to speak to the fiscal quarters.
Okay, see, and that's where I would go with it.
Yeah,
that I think fiscal quarter is the time to go. All right, we're entering this next fiscal quarter. You have to talk about what your plans are for the fiscal quarter. If you're Nintendo and you have a brand new console coming out, you can't not talk about it, right?
And so here's where things get interesting, Bless. I'm so with you. It's GDC is an interesting one just because of the type of industry event that it is, which is an industry event. It's not so much a public thing, and there's not really announcements made there. But every once in a while, there's big news that comes from it.
Wasn't the PS5 thing GDC?
The Vita. The Vita was first actually shown at GDC.
When was
actually people
when was the
saw it.
When was the PS5 thing where like they had like the Mark Cerny in front of the Shadow people? Do you remember this? Where like it was like the audience. It was during the pandemic. It was like early pandemic.
The ear thing.
Yeah,
that was GDC.
Okay,
yeah, exactly. But that's a good example of like that was less news and stuff. It was just more like if you listen, there's going to be news dropped here, but it's not like we're announcing games and all that fun stuff, right? But every once in a while something does happen, but specifically hardware, people might get their first hands on or first look at. I remember the Vita was like, and it was still what was it called? Next Gen Portable. NGP. And so I don't think we're necessarily going to get that, but I do think the timing is interesting. Nintendo is doing two big talks at GDC, one about Tears of the Kingdom, and I forget what the other one was, but it's like big Nintendo stuff. But again, don't think it's going to be GDC, just think it's going to be the timing. But here's where we get interesting, because you are talking about the Switch announcement of they announced the NX in March 2016. Then it came out in
2017.
March 2017. We got the actual commercial blowout trailer for it in October. And late October, and then early January is where we got that infamous Couch Japan presentation where that ended.
We got Project Octopath Traveler, and we got the best Zelda trailer,
and the best Zelda trailer of all time. So it's like that was the timeline there. We're already on a condensed timeline at this point.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the whole thing coming out in fall.
Yeah.
Which we're aligned on. Do they not do just hey, in our investor meeting, like the next Switch is coming? Do they actually just do the commercial bit there?
I think I like this conversation, because my argument would be, why wouldn't you do it where you come out in March and say, hey, we're working on the next gen Switch, and like give like that basic info for like the fiscal year stuff, and then go, we're going to do the blowout at E3. Like, or not E3, but E3 season. Like June is when we're going to do the big thing. And like, that's where people are going to be able to come and play it. Maybe you release a trailer maybe a month before, like say May, to like let people know what it is. That way, like people can kind of prep themselves for it. And then like non E3 is when people actually, like the press, come out and play it. And then you give like the big presentations, talk about the big games. Because again, we're talking about the time frame of last time with the Switch. It was October to March. That was about 6 months between that. I feel like if we're talking about this fall, June-ish would be around like when that would be.
So I'm with you on the hands-on.
Yeah.
But remember, the hands-on was the January event. The commercial was October. I think it'd be more condensed, but yeah, I think May would fulfill that October thing. I think May fulfills the January thing. I think that the commercial, the October thing from the original Switch, is going to be next month. We'll see.
I like this. I'm excited, man. I feel like I hope it comes out this fall.
Because I think, like, where my head's at right now, me, Raj, and Barrett talked about this on the Gamescast a couple days ago. But where I'm at currently is I think it's going to be the Switch 2. I think they're going to continue the narrative of we're building on this thing you already love, and we want you to upgrade. You've had this thing for hell long now, and you loved it. You're going to keep loving it, and here's why. You loved those games. They're going to work better now. And guess what? Metroid Prime 4, it's a real thing. And it's going to work on the old Switch, but it's also going to work on this one, and better. And guess what? Either take your pick of Mario Kart, 3D Mario, or Animal Crossing. Boom, motherfuckers. We're printing money. It's going to be a great time for us.
Man, you know what's a great time for the audience? YouTube.com/kindafunnygames and Patreon. I said it like a Jamaican accent. Patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can go and you can get the show ad free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
We are brought to you by Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a standalone game that welcomes fans and newcomers alike. You don't need to have played Final Fantasy VII Remake or any other Final Fantasy titles to play and enjoy Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The combat is not traditional turn-based and has more action-focused gameplay, with even deeper improvements since Remake, with new synergy attacks and team-based combos. And there are large open sections to explore, with Cloud and his comrades venturing across the planet, their fates unwritten, making every step in the expansive world outside Midgard fresh and mysterious. And of course, there are dozens of mini-games. There's a story recap video of Final Fantasy VII Remake for those interested in learning more about the story so far, and those looking to experience Final Fantasy VII Remake fully can pre-order the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth Twin Pack, which includes the game plus the DLC episode intermission at no extra cost. You can download and play a demo of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth right now on the PlayStation Store, and you can pre-order the game in the link in the description. The wait is almost over. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is out February 29th. Get hyped. This episode's brought to you by Factor. Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals make eating better every day easy. Wherever tomorrow takes you, be ready with pre-prepared, chef-crafted, and dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. You'll have over 35 different options a week to choose from, including keto, calorie smart, vegan plus, veggie, and more. What are you waiting for? Get started today and have a feel-good week of meals ready to go. 2-minute meals allow you to fuel up fast with Factor's restaurant-quality meals that are ready to heat and eat whenever you are. Factor's less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian-approved to be nutritious and delicious. Get as much or as little as you need by choosing 6 to 18 meals per week, plus you can pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. No prep, no mess meals. Factor meals are 100% ready to heat and eat, so there's no prepping, cooking, or cleanup needed. Head to factormeals.com/kindafunny50 and use code kindafunny50 to get 50% off. That's code kindafunny50 at factormeals.com/kindafunny50 to get 50% off.
And we're back with story number 3. Sony could release a new Astro Bot game this year, it is claimed.
Are we living in the best fucking year of video games again, Blessing? What?
Listen, I've been trying to tell you, man. All right, y'all are hyping up 2023. Let's talk about 2024. This is Tom Ivan at VGC. Sony could be planning to release a new Astro Bot game this year, it's been claimed. The company revealed on Wednesday that it has no plans to release any new entries in major franchises like God of War, Spider-Man during its next fiscal year, which starts in April and ends in March 2025. However, Sony may be planning to release unannounced games from other established, albeit less high-profile IPs, according to Giant Bomb reporter Jeff Grubb. Well, we already know Rise of the Ronin is coming. We know that Concord, one of the live service games, is scheduled to come out this year. That's the stuff that's scheduled for sure, he said. And then it's like there might be new game entries in franchises that already exist. They just might not be major in PlayStation's eyes when they're talking to investors. They said God of War, they said Spider-Man. These are the franchises that sell 15 million copies lifetime or more, end quote. Grubb added, quote, I've heard maybe Astro Bot does happen this year. So if that happens, that's pretty big for me. I get why Sony's not thinking that's a major one for us, at least not yet. Hopefully they could turn it into a major one. And then a lot of this changes around, end quote.
Every word Jeff Grubb said there, I feel to my core.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I understand that Sony wouldn't talk about Astro as one of
a big franchise game.
Because it's not, right? But we love it, and like we look at it as a major win.
It's big to me, damn it.
It's big to me, damn it. I can't believe that we will get, I imagine at some point, a full Astro game.
Oh, we have to.
Right? A full
we
console
definitely
game.
have to.
Because we got the VR one, we got the PS5 tech demo that was so
incredible.
damn good, man.
One of the best 2-hour games of all time.
For reals. And when the Portal came out recently, like, and I wanted to test the haptics and stuff on the DualSense that it had, I booted up Astro's Playroom and just like played around a bit. I'm like, this game is a pure joy. And this adds up timeline wise, right? Like that dropping when the PS5 launched, which is now years ago. Like, yeah, we know that Team Asobo's been working on something. So I think it's this.
I mean, if you want to talk about major franchise games, right? Like Astro Bot, Astro's Playroom outsold God of War and Spider-Man. 54 million.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Everybody has Astro Bot.
There you go.
Think about it. It's a major franchise game. As much as I want to believe Jeff here, and I believe like what he's saying, that he's heard it. I believe him, but I just don't buy it. I don't buy that Astro Bot is actually coming out.
How come?
It just doesn't feel like it, man.
So
I just don't feel the vibe.
Tell me why, though. Like, do you think it's not going to happen this year? Do you think it's not going to happen, period?
No, it's going to happen.
So why not? Why not this year? Like, what? I feel like they've been so quiet, like that team, and like all the news that we last heard about them was so long ago that like it, especially for the type of game that it is, like the development cycles aren't that long.
Yeah, but like, it's just that we haven't heard any. Like, this is the first we've heard of like anything about a new Astro Bot game, right? And like, it's Jeff being like, I've heard maybe Astro Bot does happen this year, right? Like, he even says the word maybe, so he's even like not that sure of it. I don't know. Like, it just doesn't feel like Astro Bot's about to happen. I feel like maybe we would have gotten like more rumors / reports / trailers or something. It's just we've heard nothing about it.
I don't know that it's the type of game that happens for. Like, it's so early in the year now that we have so much year left for things to be leaked, rumored, announced.
If an Astro Bot happens, you think May, State of Play, they announce it, and then it's coming out this fall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just don't feel, I hope I'm wrong.
I mean, the reason I'm with you on like the hesitation, mainly just because of how PlayStation's been moving. Like, the reports yesterday, like how they're talking about stuff. I'm like, oh, y'all are bracing yourselves for like not having the stuff.
I think that's actually my thing, right? I look down the barrel of 2024, and PlayStation has had Helldivers 2 come out. They're about to have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. They're about to have Rise of the Ronin in what, next month? Yeah, March 22nd. And then Stellar Blade happening a bit later in the spring. We know Death Stranding 2 is not coming out this year. That was announced for 2025. I feel like you would say something about like, hey, we have a 2024 game beyond these, like a PlayStation Studios thing. I think the fact that they've like, I think Last of Us, this is what we talked about yesterday with Andy, right? I think Last of Us Online was supposed to be their major franchise game to come out in 2024, but that obviously got canceled. I just don't think they have anything.
So here's my thing. I think that Astro and Helldivers are actually in the same tier of game. And there can be arguments made. I'm talking about the quality, and I understand the different genres and stuff. But I'm just saying in terms of like how PlayStation sees them, where there's a dedicated audience for it, but it's definitely not like the thing that we're going to talk about as a God in the same conversation of God of War and Spider-Man and Horizon.
Sure.
Helldivers 2 was announced during the 2023 PlayStation Showcase in May 2023, and now it just came out now, and it got delayed. Correct?
It got delayed out of last fall.
Yeah.
So it would have been
The plan was May to October or whatever that was, and then it ended up hitting in February or late January. I don't remember exactly.
February.
So I could see that happening. And Helldivers, it's not like we heard rumors about that, but we also were like, well, at some point that team's probably going to make Helldivers 2. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think my thing with it, I have a couple things. I think firstly, in terms of like, I guess tier of video games, right? Helldivers 2 to Astro Bot, I'm with you, but I also still think that Astro Bot being first party, as opposed to Helldivers 2 being a game that's being developed by a third party studio, but they're publishing first party. I think PlayStation views PlayStation Studios, like their owned and operated studios, differently.
I agree.
I think they want to prop that up even more.
But they're brand new to that, right? Like that was a new thing of their team being owned, right?
For which one?
Team Asobo.
You're talking about for like Astro's Playroom or? I forget. Well,
wasn't it post the PS5 launch that there was like
that they acquired Team Asobi? Yeah. No, they're part of Japan Studio.
Oh, they just made their own thing then, right?
Yeah,
there was some news.
Japan. They made Astro Bot's Rescue Mission like PlayStation first party as part of Japan Studio.
Gotcha.
And when Japan Studio like kind of got shut down, they then became their own thing, and that happened in like 2020 or so.
Got it. Okay. All right.
I forget where I was going with it. But yeah, like, I think because they're owned and operated first-party PlayStation studios, I think there's a bit more pomp and circumstance that you can add to that as PlayStation to go, hey, you should care about this like a Horizon. Because, and this is me talking, maybe Jim Ryan or whoever, I guess not Jim Ryan anymore, but maybe the PlayStation higher-ups don't feel the same. I think that people should look forward to a new Astro Bot the same way they look forward to a new Horizon, right? Like, again, it's not God of War Spider-Man level, but like, I think it could be Horizon level at the very least. I think a lot of people are going to be like on team Astro Bot over a team Horizon or like Ghost of Tsushima. I think it has that kind of potential as a video game. So I think that. I then think
Even with such a god-awful design.
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, the design is perfect. The design of Astro Bot is perfect. But I think that, and then I also think just for what 2024 looks like for PlayStation, PlayStation's fall and like PlayStation Studios games, I think you would have announced it, but I think you would have said that, hey, we have something coming out in 2024 later on, like not dated, and it is Astro Bot.
Here's the thing. I don't think that they need to. And I'm saying this as a PlayStation fan that wants PlayStation games and wants to know what I'm excited for. And like, this is the first time in the PS5's history that I'm not like, oh, well, we got Spider-Man 2 coming. Oh, we have God of War Ragnarok coming. Oh, we have like whatever, these big tentpole things. I don't think, as much as we talk about this shit day in and day out, I don't think PlayStation's looking at this like, oh man, we're fucked in 2024. We don't have anything. I think they're like, yo, we got Final Fantasy right now. We got Helldivers is a major win. Like, they're kind of just in cruise mode right now. Like, I think that there is a feeling of desperation that like I feel from when we're talking about it, where I'm like, how do we still not know what so many of the core teams are working on next? Or how do we not know, like when we saw that PlayStation showcase last year and we're all like, dang, y'all tarnished the showcase brand with this of all the multiplayer stuff and like not announcing all the things that we kind of expected to be there. And now it's like, all right, cool. Well, they're not going to be there because they're not ready. They're not even close to ready. And the strategy is different. I just feel like the reality is PlayStation knows what they have, and they're just like, all right, well, we're good right now. And like, there's a hubris there, but I also think that they're right. Look at the success of Helldivers 2.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, right? Like, I think right now, if people want to look at currently as like oh man, like I said this last year of going into the fall, when we were halfway through last year, I even looked at it as like a down year for PlayStation Studios. But it doesn't matter when you have FF16 and Spider-Man 2 is like carrying the thing on its back, right? And like, you have these games that are financially doing what you need to do and also giving your players a steady stream of exclusive games. They still have that right now with the games that I mentioned, right? Between Helldivers, Rise of the Ronin, hopefully Stellar Blade is good, right? Like all these things.
And Last of Us Part 2, which like, I think the time will tell the story on that. I'm very interested in the sales of Last of Us Part 2. Like, I feel like we should.
It's going to sell pretty good.
Yeah, we should like make a point to like look back and like talk about it when that comes out, because we all looked at it as like, that was a weird timing for this thing, and it kind of came out and it feels like it just died, right? But like, did it achieve the goal of selling to the mainstream?
Probably did.
I don't know.
I think my other thing with it too is when it comes to PlayStation, right? Like in their first party studios, it very much is like, hey, whenever these games are done, put them out, right? Like, it's so we talk a lot about on PS Love You and on the show about like the strategy of PlayStation and the strategy of like big publishers in general, and how, all right, you want to line up these things to hit this way so that like, you know, you have 3 games come out a year or whatever it is. I think for the way PlayStation Studios works, I think they look at their studios and go, hey, like whenever Sucker Punch has Ghost ready, we'll put it out. Whenever you have the next Sony Santa Monica game ready, we'll put it out. Naughty Dog, like, take your time. I think they look at all their studios and go, take as much time as you want. And so like, I would think Team Asobi is in a place where they're like, all right, we're gonna make our first big Astro Bot game, hopefully. Let's take our time with it. Like, let's make something special here. And I don't know, like, I don't know how long they've been working on it, right? Like, it's hard to gauge, but yeah, it's hard for me to hope, or like, it's hard for me to predict that it's going to come out this year. It just feels almost too soon. I hope it does, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not predicting it will, but it adds up. And if Grubb's saying he thinks it might, then I think it might.
I'm with that. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Let's move on. Story number 4. Embracer says it's looking out for shareholders after cutting almost 1,400 jobs. This is Chris Kerr at Game Developer. Embracer has reaffirmed its unrelenting commitment to, quote, maximizing shareholder value, end quote, after laying off almost 1,400 workers in 6 months. The company provided an update on its sweeping restructuring program in its fiscal report for the third quarter ended December 31st, 2023, and revealed it laid off another 483 employees during the last quarter. That means the Swedish conglomerate has made precisely 1,387 layoffs throughout Q2 and Q3, equating to 8% of its total headcount. Although the company said the restructuring program is making good progress, it feels like it's unlikely to achieve its target of bringing net debt below 8 billion, which is $761.6 million, by the end of the current fiscal year. To boost its chances of hitting that goal, Embracer intends to pursue, quote, certain divestment processes that could significantly reduce net debt. That means studio sales could be on the horizon, with Embracer claiming some negotiations are reaching mature stages. Discussing those job cuts and potential divestments, Embracer reassured onlookers that its overruling principle is to always maximize shareholder value in any given situation. And that's a quote.
And that's a quote.
And that's just so people know. That's a quote. That's not them. I don't forget the phrase I'm looking for. Putting the words in their own words. I don't know. Continuing, it added, quote, certain companies might initiate restructuring before any divestment is announced. So it sounds like studios under the Embracer umbrella might be told to downsize before being sold off.
Embracer reassured onlookers that, quote, its overruling principle is to always maximize shareholder value in any given situation.
Not a paraphrase. That's what I was
And
looking for.
that is exactly what we've been seeing across the industry, but specifically with Embracer. These numbers are astronomically disappointing. And upsetting. And again, not the end at all. There's no end in sight. This is going to continue to happen. And it's nasty, man.
It's gross. Like, again, there's a tweet that Jordan Midler always puts up whenever we get this bad in Breaks News, which is often. And he always, he screenshots it. It's a tweet that he put up, weeks and weeks ago, maybe months ago, and then screenshots it and then tweets it with this. He says, the damage Embracer Group has done to people's lives and livelihoods is absolutely scandalous. No one with money will face any consequences, but hundreds will wonder how to pay rent. Cowards.
Yep.
And it is apt. It is insane how you can have such a negative impact on an industry, right? As a few individual executives / higher ups / owners, CEOs, whatever, are able to go, hey, let's create a business. Let's take a THQ, let's turn it into this new thing, and let's just buy up a bunch of studios. Then let's mishandle our business and then just fuck up all those different studios. Hey, Volition, you're shut down. Hey, the studio that was working on the
Twitter's Free Radical.
How did you know exactly what I was talking about?
Pointing at me.
Yeah. Hey, Free Radical, we're going to spin you up and then we're going to shut you down. Looking at every single one of these studios that you bought and going, all right, we're going to downsize. Wild. Absolutely insane. That you can have such a negative impact because you mismanage your money and you make business you do business based on fucking greed and fucking trying to make fast money as opposed to being smart.
It really feels like somebody with too much money walking into a Vegas casino and not knowing when to just back off, and at some point that inevitably leads to you lose. And the difference here is we're not just talking about chips on the table, we're talking about people.
Yeah. It's upsetting. I do have a related tweet / story here. This comes from the homie Noble on Twitter. Embracer-owned studio Flying Wild Hog has unionized. Quote, the union membership has been steadily growing, and if you two want to act and change the industry for the better, contact us. And then he's linking a GameDeveloper.com article. That's some good news. Protect yourselves. Unionize. Do all that good stuff. Final news story. Well, second to final news story. Story number 5. Avatar: The Last Airbender competitive multiplayer fighting game has been announced. This is Sal Romano at Gematsu. Maximum Games has entered into a partnership with Paramount Consumer Products to develop a competitive multiplayer fighting game set in the universe of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the company announced. It will launch in early access in 2025. A developer and platforms were not announced. Now, Barrett's made an entrance. Barrett, do you want to say anything, or are you here just to just
give me something else? Who asked for a fighting game?
I
There's
did.
literally a pro sport.
I asked for a fighting game.
You have fucking Nickelodeon All-Star Battle Royale Brawl 2 or whatever that you sung its praises. We have that already.
And we're get to
we
get
have
more.
a pro sport in the universe called Pro Bending. Give me a fucking Pro Bending game that just plays like Windjammers. What are you doing?
Bend people's arms.
Give me a God of War
This fighting
Ragnarok or
game.
God of War like where you play as an Earthbender. What are you doing?
Now, people in chat.
Give him blue people.
Yeah, give them the blue people. Let them play the sport. Now, here's the thing, right? Because I look at this, I'm somebody who really likes Avatar, the Last Airbender, not the blue people Avatar that wear fucking shirts, wear t-shirts.
TJ Maxx.
We're going to TJ Maxx, going and doing their shop. How are you gonna go to Old Navy and you're an alien? What are you doing? Grow up. What was I talking about? Oh, I like Avatar: The Last Airbender. And like you tell me that you're making an Avatar: The Last Airbender, an Airbender fighting game. I go, that's cool. I'm into that.
Yeah.
Let's see what it's about. Now, here's the thing, right?
Maximum Games.
Who the fuck is Maximum? I've never heard of Maximum, and I'm not talking shit, right? Because literally I've not heard of Maximum. But I did open up the YouTube video to see the announcement, and it's like one of their folks like talking to the camera saying, "Hey, like we're making this Avatar: Last Airbender game," and it's within like this the video is called Maximum Entertainment 2024 Roadmap Walkthrough, and it's a bunch of different things that they're talking about, like different game announcements. And I was just scrolling through the time codes, right? I'm like, all right, cool. What else are they talking about? They do the corporate update, and then they talk about a game called Small Land, Survive the Wilds. Then they talk about a game called Maximum Football. Then they talk about Morbid, the Lords of Ire, Whisker Waters, Leo the Firefighter Cat. And cool. I think it's cool that like games are being made, and I've never heard of these games.
What about Leo? Look at Leo, dude. He's out here, dude.
Leo looks neat.
Fire.
Oh wait, is Maximum? No, that's not Maximum. I'm gonna do a Google it right after this. But like, I've not heard of any of these things, right? And I look at Avatar, the fighting game, and I'm like, how did y'all get this license?
Because it's Paramount. It's Nickelodeon, man.
But like,
They be not giving a fuck. Kind of their whole thing.
but now I want to look up Maximum because this is the same company that does Nickelodeon. No, that's like something Mill.
Yeah, that's different.
I'm on the Maximum Entertainment website.
Smash Project M or whatever.
Yeah, when I look at the Maximum games, Whisker Waters. Until then, oh, they do Spirit of the North too.
Okay.
Pixel Shire. Them Fighting Herds, which I've actually hold on.
Yeah.
Because if they were behind Them Fighting Herds, that is a really good fighting game, from what I understand.
Yeah. All right.
Actually, I was gonna talk
There's
shit.
some potential here.
I was gonna talk shit, but like, if you're able to partner with these folks to do it,
Wait,
that-
are they also people that do Squirrel with a Gun? Because they had the Squirrel with a Gun trailer right there.
oh maybe, yeah, they might have published it.
Amazing.
All I'm saying is, how'd they get Avatar? How come? How does everybody get Avatar except a AAA developer? And again, I'm not talking shit because this game could be good. Like this Avatar game could be really good. I don't know who's developing it yet. We'll see. But like, so many other publishers exist.
Nickelodeon just hasn't taken that type of swing. Like they really still exist in that THQ.
But I don't understand what because I feel like so many people would kill to make an Avatar. Like so many AAA. You went to Ubisoft and go, "Hey, Avatar: The Last Airbender." There's somebody there.
You're telling me you want Ubisoft to make an Avatar game?
I want somebody who's AAA to make an Avatar game.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
Another
I see what you did there.
Yeah. No, I feel you. It's just that's not their business. I mean, look, you look at Disney, and not that Disney and Nickelodeon are analogous directly in this sense, but they've made the moves both on the Marvel front and clearly the Star Wars front, but then just overall, why am I talking like this? Overall, Disney, as we saw with all the stuff in the last couple of weeks with Epic, like they're investing in their Disney game side of things in a way that Nickelodeon still seems to kind of be like, let's just try a bunch of shit. They did the card stuff. They did the Smash clone stuff. Like that tier of product seems to be like where they.
But why? You're Nickelodeon. You're one of the top dogs. You might not be Disney, but like.
But I think that's a big enough difference, man, because you go up to Paramount, and I don't think that they're doing that great. Actually, I know they're not doing that great.
But there's so many. Like, people love Avatar. And like there's so many people who I know probably on the AAA level, and if not on the AAA level, at least on the indie, like skilled indie level, that would make a fucking banger Avatar game. Like I know people, like there are studios that are making like Earthbound clones that are talented that would look at Avatar and go, oh, we can make like an RPG, like a turn-based, like the Sea of Stars devs.
Yeah.
I don't know if they like Avatar, but there are people like them. I am positive that would look at Avatar and go, oh, we can make a banger Avatar JRPG.
Yeah. You're right.
Like, why do they go to the very specific AA developers that are like I've never heard of?
Man, I think it's like how much they cost, the turnaround time, and the return that they know they're gonna get. Enough.
Like that SpongeBob commentating the Super Bowl. You can't get a good developer to make an Avatar game.
Tom Kenny, baby.
Tim, we just talked about a lot of big old news. If I wanted something smaller, say the tiniest news I need to know about, where would I go?
You go to our last story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items you need to know about.
Tim, it's time for story number 6. We call it Wii News. EA Sports College Football 25 is set for a full reveal in May 2024. I know Greg Miller and Stomach Mike's very happy about that. I'm also very happy about that. I like those.
Feel like
games.
this game has been fully revealed 1,000 times or 0 times.
0 times.
You know what I mean?
But it's always been on the precipice about
it feels like
of about to be revealed.
I swear to God, I've heard Greg and Mike threaten me with their excitement for this game.
Oh yeah,
many times.
It just keeps coming up with like, we're about to announce it. We're about to announce it.
Well, now we have a date, I guess.
They're about to announce it. This next one's from videogames.si.com. Tim, what do you think SI stands for?
Sports Illustrated.
It does, yeah. This is via Noble. Around 24 employees at Zaum, the Disco Elysium studio, are at risk of redundancy. The standalone...
Say that again? At what studio?
Zaum.
Zaum?
ZA/UM.
I thought you were saying Zaloom, and I thought that the slash was like a stylized L, and I was like, those motherfuckers are going wild.
It might be. I've never looked up how to pronounce it.
Gotcha. I wasn't calling you out. I just thought that.
Yeah.
Like,
I've always
crazy.
said Zaum just out of...
that sounds right. That does.
The standalone expansion for Disco Elysium was canceled. The sequel was canceled in 2022, and a new sci-fi IP was paused in 2023. They still have 2 games in development. That hurts my soul because I love Disco Elysium, but I also know that studio's been going through a lot of turmoil, and so we'll see where that goes. Tekken 8 has sold 2 million copies since launch.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And like, there is a comparative. I have a tweet here that Kevin's pulled up. This is from Benji Sales, and he does a comparative thing of Street Fighter 6 sold 1 million in 5 days, then 2 million in around a month, and then 3 million in around 7 months. Mortal Kombat sold nearly 3 million in under 2 months, and then 3+ million by January 2024. Tekken 8, 2 million in under 3 weeks.
Crazy, man.
And I'm gonna say it right now, Tekken 8, my favorite out of the bunch.
Yeah.
Fucking great video game. Yeah. I'm hooked on it. Yeah, I can't stop playing it.
Right before we went on the show, I was telling you, I booted it up last night and played maybe the first 30 minutes of the campaign.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dude.
I can't wait to get back. Everybody, if you were like, I'm not good at fighting games, but I kind of like their vibe, and I haven't stayed up to date on Tekken or whatever, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
You need to play the story mode, man.
Just hop into it.
It's so cool.
It's a fucking good time. Moving on, skateboarding roguelite Hellskate launches into early access today.
Give it a shot. It's real good.
Ooh, okay.
Real good.
That makes me feel good. I want to give it a shot at some point. I'm playing so much Tekken, just taking up all my time. A Little to the Left is out today on PS5 and Xbox Series X. No Man's Sky's Omega update is out today. The Vince Staples show is out today on Netflix. I added that. And then, listen, all right? Vince Staples makes a show. I got to watch it.
I get it.
And then we have an important deal of the day for you, Kevin, if you can bring this up. Sonic Superstars is having a shadow costume.
Is Sonic inside Shadow?
They're adding a shadow costume where Sonic is indeed inside of Shadow.
Wow.
The Sonic DLC is free, again, for Sonic Superstars.
This is
Sonic's, Sonic is wearing Shadow.
Yeah. We got Roger coming in hot. He's excited. Roger's all...
You see this, Roger? You see this shit?
I was just getting a hard drive, but this is fucking disgusting. We need to take this out back. This is an unacceptable situation.
When I tell you that, as soon as I saw this, I hit that US PSN link, and I hit add to library.
Good.
I might boot this up one more time for this.
You got to, dude.
God, Sonic inside Shadow. My dreams have come true, Tim. And that's it for this segment, We News.
For this,
whatever we call this shit. Let's see. Let's see what we have for super chats real quick before we get out of here. Let's see. Man, y'all be talking sometimes. You know what I mean? Y'all be just writing in here.
Shit here.
I'm gonna hop into this Jordan one blind. Xbox have been moving in this direction for years and saying exactly that clearly. So my question is, why don't people seem to get it? Or have people just been ignoring it because it's too different?
So I think that there's a couple, we need to remember that people aren't a thing. It's not just there's not a group and it's like, oh man, they said this and now they say that. Oftentimes they're different people that said those things. So important to note. I do think that no matter who you are, it's obvious that the Xbox strategy has been a little unclear because they haven't been able to get that steady cadence going of releases that we've been kind of seeing them gear up for a very long time. And because of that, they've also introduced a lot of new concepts like Game Pass and xCloud and dived into the new markets in a way that is more successful than we've seen PlayStation or other more traditional like hardware or software developers try to do this. So I think that the message of like, it's on every screen, it's like people that are in can wrap their heads around that.
Yeah.
But that is still a complicated thing because they haven't been able to be like, let me just try to think of an example of this. Like, they haven't had that moment of you could play Last of Us here, 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 or here, and here's how you do it.
Yeah.
You need that title to be able to get everyone to be like, oh, I'm now educated on how this works. Xbox just hasn't had that type of game. They've had wins. They've had good games. They haven't had the like, oh, the killer app, the system seller, right? But the system isn't the box. The system is the concept of Play Anywhere. They just haven't had that seller for that idea yet. That's why I think people don't get it.
I think you're 100% right. I think another element to it too is that change scares people. The idea that somebody's doing something radically different, like you look at that and you go, what are you doing, right? And like Xbox is doing something that's radically different from what we understand about the business of video games, at least historically. And if you're somebody that has been following along, been super paying attention to all this stuff, you can kind of like make out why they're doing this and understand this shift. But most people aren't paying attention on the level that us on Games Daily are reading every single news story literally every day and talking about it and extracting it and like breaking it down. And so when you have a wide audience that, you know, like have bought the box to play the games and they go and they see that you're not making exclusives anymore, they think, oh, everything's going downhill. Oh man, I'm not gonna have an Xbox anymore. Oh, like it's all gonna go away. When that isn't necessarily the case, right? I think it is the fact that big change is sometimes a thing that you have to like accept / might just need to be explained to you a bit more, right? Like you might need to hold people's hands a bit more with this one.
And the most important thing is and always will be the story that you're telling and how people understand that story. If your communication's not clear, you're not communicating. And I think that we've seen that so many times where it's not just banger exclusives equal a good generation. It's not just, oh, we have this gimmick that we got right. It's not just, oh, there's this new service that makes everything easier and better. It needs to be a amalgamation of all of those things to tell a story that people understand and want to get behind. An example of that is the Wii U, which has an amazing banger lineup of exclusive games. But that wasn't enough because the Wii U sucked and the story of the Wii U was bad and the pacing and cadence of those releases was abysmal. So they fucked it all up.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like Xbox hasn't had a moment that bad, anywhere close to that. But they also haven't had that moment of things coming together. Maybe we're going to see it today.
Crazy how they fucked up the Wii U with Nintendo Land on it. Come on, man.
Come on,
Fucking
man.
masterpiece. That's Nintendo Land. Chocolate. I mean, I'm not being sarcastic. I love Nintendo Land.
I love a masterpiece. A little far from me.
Okay, not a masterpiece.
Enjoyable game. Sure.
That was such a fun.
We all wanted a Metroid.
Dude, I was in college and I had like a friend and a half that had a Wii U. One of them had a Nintendo Land. We had so much time out of Mario Tag and the fucking Luigi's Mansion game that we played.
Yeah, dude, so good.
Oh man. Chocolate Fox says, first time I get to really catch y'all live. Thanks for the content, but possible Gamescast discussion. What is your favorite gaming trilogy? Mine is currently Mass Effect. Boy, do I have a shit list for you.
I know.
If you go to the Kind of Funny Day 2024 Part 2 VOD that we have, and then you scroll a little bit, there's an episode of Shit List where we talk about the best video game trilogies of all time. But if you're talking about my favorite video game trilogy, if you can count the Eco trilogy, Eco Shadow Colossus and Last Guardian, that's probably the one for me. I love those three games so much, and I think as a unit, they're very strong.
Yeah, we had a big discussion about what counts as a trilogy and what doesn't, and I think at the end of the day, it's really fucking stupid because like trilogy is. I think it's a term that is going to mean less and less over time as every single thing eventually gets another sequel to be part of it. But because of that, the GTA 3 trilogy, I think, is the one true answer.
GTA 1 and 2?
GTA 3 trilogy.
Is GTA 3 Vice City and San Andreas is what he's talking about.
Yeah, I was messing around. It's the Mario trilogy for sure. It's number one.
Oh, man.
There he is. We have a believer, Barrett.
What do you mean?
The Mario
That's
trilogy.
what it is. The Mario
He just
trilogy.
did it. I don't know if he's fucking around, but he just did it.
He did just do it. We got one more from Mara saying Invincible Season 2 Part 2 trailer reacts with the X-Men trailer. Is there a new trailer?
There is a new trailer. We're not going to react to it.
Yeah.
Just 'cause of time.
Boo!
I did have a poll up of who have you ever called it the Mario trilogy, and 97% voted no.
But there's 3 of
Yeah,
them.
but like, I see, it's the phrasing. Have you ever called it the Mario trilogy? But if you ask, is the first 3 Mario games a trilogy? Considered a trilogy?
Did you know
100%.
that Mario 2 was originally Doki Doki Panic in Japan? It took everything in me not to respond to your tweet with that. But I was like, I'm not trying to be an asshole on Twitter at
Bear,
least.
can I ask you to do me a favor? Can you pull up the trailer for Dan in Real Life for me so we can live react to it? Now it's time for kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Rewrite it and let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong so we can correct it for those watching later on YouTube and listening later on podcast services around the globe. Bander SN says Maximum Games published Them's Fighting Herds. Main 6 was the developer. No word on if they're involved with this. Listen, if they can get Main 6 to work on an Avatar fighting game, we're in business. Like, that's going to be a fucking, like, oh shit. Like, that's going to be a thing. That's going to be at EVO. We're going to have a good time.
I just want to see Aang versus Jake Sully. Is his name Aang?
So, yeah, Aang.
You nailed it, Tim. You nailed it.
Jake Sully.
Yeah, fucking.
Oh, from the Blue
Get
People
fucking
Avatar.
familiar.
God damn it. You make any reference to the Blue People Avatar, I'm not going to know what you're talking about.
They're fun movies, Blast.
I don't believe you. Like, at what part do they go to Earth? And then they're like, oh
never
man,
on Earth.
they're perusing through a mall, and they're like, oh, Express, oh, Macy's. And like, they start,
Blast, but you don't
They just
understand.
start going to different things
you
and
don't
buying shirts.
understand. Those are hybrid clones, but like for a while they're hanging out with people. They can't just be dick out.
Yeah, but human clothes? Where are you?
It would be offensive to steal their clothes. Cultural appropriation.
Yeah, but they're the.
He's right.
Yeah, I don't
They
know.
have,
First of all,
like,
I don't know if
labs
that's what
and
cultural
stuff.
appropriation is.
It
It
is.
1000% would be.
Tim, I don't need a white guy backing me up on this one, all right?
It's Blueface at
Oh
worst.
my God, you went too far, Tim.
best.
You went too far.
But it is.
Blueface is a great rapper, first of all. I don't know if that's true, actually. I've never once listened to a Blueface song. He might be terrible.
I don't think Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying, if I woke up as an alien, I guess I would just wear my own clothes. But like, I don't know. First of all, aren't they like taller? Aren't they bigger than people?
Imagine if you went into this pod, right? And suddenly you wake up and they're like, hey man, put on this little skirt. And you're just like, well, I mean, I really like wearing jeans. And
Yeah,
they're
but
like,
then,
well,
I'm being disrespectful.
but
I'm
you're
in
not
their
hanging
culture.
out with them. You're in the lab. They still do like lab shit. All right, and then imagine.
I just think they look funny.
They do look funny, but then imagine one of the alien hybrids. They die, but their body stays alive, and then they're pregnant, and nobody knows who the baby is. Who's the baby's dad?
How do they make babies again, Tim? Don't they like
Oh, their
shake
little
hands?
tails. Their little
their
tails.
tails.
Tangle up.
Their tails. Let's see. We got more about the Avatar thing, and then Squiddy Witty. Oh damn!
Wait, serious question. Do they have genitals?
I think it's the tails. I think we see their
think-
genitals the entire
I
movie.
think that because like.
I'm not saying the
That
movie, so I'm
brings
just
up a
talking.
lot of weird questions because they also tangle their little tails with like horses and like flying dragon things.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I was gonna say humans do weird things too.
Yeah, but it's not sexual. Definitely when they. Well, I mean,
No, we do.
no. I'm
Don't
saying
say
for the
we.
Avatar.
You don't need to say we there.
We all here.
You talk about him as a them.
All of us here. And then one more from Squiddy Witty who says Main 6 had all but 3 of its devs laid off by Maximum in December 2023. Why can't we have anything good? That's it for You're Wrong. Tim.
Yeah.
Hopefully something good comes out of the Xbox podcast. We'll have to
Hopefully,
find
man.
out later today when we all live react to it.
Remember, everybody, we're about to be hanging out all day. If you're on Twitch, you can just hang out and stay. If you're on YouTube, eventually you're going to have to jump up. For right now, we're going to go right into the X-Men trailer reaction. If you're watching on Games Daily, it's just going to be the same video. You don't need to go anywhere. We're just trying to keep things as simple as possible for us. We're trying our best to work in a complicated media landscape, everybody. It's hard. Distribution platforms and a bunch of other business words. Synergy, 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 everyone.
You sound like Embracer.
Yeah.
Actually, Embracer didn't think that hard about it, honestly. Embracer probably doesn't even know what synergy even means. Like,
Yeah.
what? We don't just buy things? What part is where we buy things? Of course, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy news you used to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and on podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, support us with the Kind of Funny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free, watch, record them live, and get a daily exclusive show. Until next time, Game Daily.
You're live.
Yeah.
Hi,
Rob,
buddy.
can you grab Nick and Andy? Thank you very much. Okay.
That's a fun show.
That was great. Yeah.
Tim, I want you to know, I believe that the aliens from Avatar have genitals, and the grabbing the little tails together thing is more of like an emotional bonding thing and not purely sexual.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I
my-
see you. It's
that's
the whole
my
thing.
belief. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I see you too, bud.
Avatar 3 this year?
No.
Next year? This year?
I feel like it's like 2 years away. They haven't figured out the technology yet.
I think it's next year. I think they
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
they're playing-
2025. All right.
Playing with fire.
Damn. I guess it makes sense, though. They wanted to get out of the way of Sonic 3.
Jesus Christ.
I can't wait. Sonic 3? Oh. Sonic
Oh,
3.
wait, hold on.
If 2 was so much more fun than 1.
Yeah.
And
Think
3
we
looks
talk-
like they're like, we don't even give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, I know.
So
We're just going full Sonic Adventures too.
let's go, dude.
Do you think it's going to be a pretty faithful adaptation of it?
No, I don't. I don't. But I do think there's going to be a surprising amount. We're going to see that young girl die. She's going to
Yeah.
get shot in the fucking face.
It's going to be
Gotta do
bloody.
it.
It's going to be
Gotta kill
disgusting.
Got him.
All right. So we got 20 minutes for this before we move over to the Xbox stuff.
Okay.
Should we get going quick then?
What's up?
I said, should we get going quick?
Let's get going in. Yeah, whenever we're ready. Kev will watch the trailer and then talk about it a bit, and then if we have time, frame by frame.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna make sure this gets KFGD gets sent up. Going. I haven't used these buttons in a while.
Cool.
Give me 1 second.
I had an online friend whose gamer tag was X-Men Play the Xbox. So I feel like this is like his favorite
This
day.
is his
you know what
day.
I mean?
Yeah.
This is his
This
day.
is it. This is what he looks forward to.
Yeah.
Hey, boss, I'm calling in today. Can't go in.
All right, intro rolling in. We're all good. Everyone ready to rock and roll? Okay, cool. Intro rolling in 3, 2.
What's up, and welcome back to another Kind of Funny live trailer reaction. This time we are going to react to, feels like it's been forever, but we're finally going to, the X-Men 97 trailer. Of course, I'm Tim Geddes. I'm joined by Nick Scarpino,
Hello, Tim.
Andy Cortez,
Morph.
and Roger
It's a
Picorni.
bub.
Nick, where's your hype levels for this?
Very hyped, actually. I had to stop myself from watching the trailer because I knew we were going to watch it today. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Yeah,
Very hyped.
It's actually, Kev, I'm so sorry. I want to bring up the poster real quick before we watch this, because I saw that they put this out. Maybe it's on Marvel Studios Twitter. Nope, I'm just tweeting out Marvel Studios.
While he's doing that, Andy, give me your morph again.
Morph. I've actually never heard it. I'm only just trying to do an
Oh.
imitation of your morph.
Really?
Would you believe it's episode 1?
It's the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
episode?
yeah. That's the one.
Yeah.
It's the only one he's ever watched.
Morph gets destroyed in that one. Now, like, the thing I'm worried about is, like, I watched the shit out of every one of these episodes as a kid.
Sure.
I couldn't tell you one singular plot beat.
Oh,
I remember at one point the Sentinels are there, and like I don't
the very
remember.
first episode.
I just remember like Gambit always looked sick as shit. That's all I remember.
Gambit was cool.
Dude, that's so
Oh
New
wow!
episodes, new era. The posters all like the VHS
Come
tapes.
Wow.
Dude, they know what they're doing here.
Yeah,
So
they know.
I'm real excited about this. Raj, you're like by far the youngest of us.
Yeah.
Did this series mean anything to your childhood?
No. Well, I saw the intro. I would see moments of it, but like X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men were my X-Men shows.
Wolverine and the X-Men was awesome.
It's awesome, awesome shows. But I've also started rewatching, or I guess watching for the first time, the original series pretty recently, and I fall in love with it completely. So I'm very excited for this. For
Hell
sure.
yeah. I mean, this is a stupid question, Andy. But do we hear the theme song?
Oh come on! Yeah.
Here's a
The
question.
most iconic theme song of any cartoon ever.
Do we get like an epic version of it, or is it just the OG?
I think it's OG.
Yeah.
I don't think they're. No, I think they need to bring like the nostalgia, and I think you get an epic version if we ever get like the MCU movie. This is gonna be.
They brought in the like Maroon 5 to redo it.
Yeah, that's the coolest band. The coolest band you could think of.
I was trying to think of Imagine Dragons, but Maroon 5 came out.
Roger, don't be mean. He's trying his hardest.
All right,
trying so hard.
without further ado, let's get into it.
Watch the series finale of X-Men next Saturday morning. Check your local listings.
I'm grateful to have the chance to say goodbye. I am proud of you all, my X-Men.
Fate lies in our hands now. Now.
Come on.
Get out of me, guys!
We have to stay vigilant. The professor entrusted us with his dream.
No matter how dark it is,
I'm tearing up.
This
we
is
must
badass.
believe in each other.
We get this done by working together as a team.
Jeez, bub. Keep buzzing in my ear.
It's the fucking OG voices, man.
Heads up!
I love that.
Holy shit!
Did he just charge up Wolverine's
To me,
claws?
my X-Men.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Magneto.
The last will and testament of Charles Xavier. Everything he built now belongs to me.
No.
Incredible.
Interesting.
Magneto leading the X-Men. Is that what's happening here? Are we doing this?
That was so much better than I ever thought it could be. I thought it was like, oh, this is going to be kind of neat, whatever.
Yeah.
That looks fucking incredible.
Yeah,
I love the low frame rate, still 3D animation though, but kind of still like trying to emulate that animated style from the 90s.
Was it
So
3D
sick.
or is it 2D hand drawn?
No, those are 3D models
Yeah,
when
for sure.
Cyclops at the end was talking, at least.
Oh,
But
When-
I'm surprised. It looks
It looks great, yeah. It looks very, very impressive.
I don't know how I
Does
feel about
anyone-
that.
Really?
I don't know how I feel about that animation. I don't know. It's just doing
let's see it
this
again.
weird thing where it's trying to emulate it, but
Let's see
it's
it
not
again.
working fully for me.
I'm with Roger. Like the scene when they're in the Blackbird, I'm like, this feels weird and a
Yeah.
little too choppy. Like I get what Andy's saying, but it doesn't feel right.
No.
See, I think the only thing that
me.
stood out to me was the sequence right here where that's all 2D.
Yeah, that looks too.
And they did that. They did the iconic like, hey, let's farm this out to the other squad
Yeah.
because this is not an action sequence, so it's just 3 frames of animation of the guy pumping his fist.
It's essentially the back of a Street Fighter level.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, this part-
right here, I don't think it feels right.
Oh, I
this-
think it looks
that
sick as shit.
I think it
layered
looks great.
effect,
I think that's it. We just have to accept that, right? Like that's just the
Oh,
workflow
sure.
now for animated. This has been popular for the last 10 years, and I think they nailed it. This looks better than I thought it was going to look, and the fact that
What do you
I
think
mean, the
Jean
fact that it
Grey?
exists at all is crazy.
What do you think Jean Grey ate right there? Why is her belly bloated?
Uh-huh.
Got some
Yeah.
too many hot wings or something?
Oh, probably.
Yeah. That's what I'm assuming.
probably.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was worried it was going to be more like the What If style, like Ruby style, like somewhere in between there. This at least feels like they're trying to look like the 90s one did, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look perfect. It looks kind of shitty, but I like that.
I want. Can you just rewind to the start of that sequence where we just saw Kevin, where he says, "My X-Men." I love a Wolverine sort of like claws coming out here at the very, very end. It looks so freaking cool. It's just a good looking little animation right here.
And also what they just did right there. Like Gambit charging him up. Like, are you kidding me? That is some cartoon shit. And that's them having fun. This looks so sick. And I love the plot that they're going with here. I'm like starting this trailer off with the end of the actual series. And this is perfect, man.
Can you go to that final shot once again? Was that Voldemort in the far left? Who's that?
Isn't that Morph?
Wait, where?
Far left? No, that is the basketball kid.
That's Basketball Kid.
No, I think
You got the little headband. That's Morph?
It's Morph.
That's Morph.
That's Morph?
Because if you go to the final shots, Kevin,
Morph
after
time.
the My X-Men thing, the final shot of that little sequence where they're all lined up.
Big plate of pasta.
Look, it looks like Voldemort.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's Morph's jacket. But
I didn't
have
know
we
Morph.
ever seen Morph in the
No, I don't think we ever.
no skin?
I don't recall seeing him like that in this series. He always had this like kind of like
He's a little weirdo?
Wolverine looking guy.
I'm super pulling this out of my ass because I have not seen this shit. Like, I've seen every episode, but not in order. You know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
just saw them over time or whatever. But like, doesn't Morph die episode
He comes
one?
back.
And then
He
comes
comes back.
because
Yeah,
back-
he's
I
all
think
like-
Mr. Sinister brings him back or
he's
something.
all like
it was a
drug
whole
addict.
thing. Yeah.
But yeah, then I think at some point, doesn't he morph? I'm also maybe
He morphs
this
into
with
an
comic
alive
stuff,
man.
But
He
he
just-
morphs into like, this is who I really am, and then he looks like this.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That's probably that sounds accurate. I don't recall that. I just know that he was alive because the first episode they brought that was what blew my mind about the series. I was like, oh, Morph died. That's so sad. But I watched Robotech. I saw Rick Fulker die. I understand death now.
spoilers,
and then they
bro.
brought him back, and I was like, what?
It's ruined your reality.
This is crazy.
There's a documentary on YouTube about this series, and it's so interesting of like how important this series was for Marvel and for superheroes and the popularity of the X-Men in the 90s, and like how this kind of became the team and how the most people thought of X-Men. And to get into the nitty gritty of the business decisions of how they actually made the show and the lengths they had to go to keep the budgets low. And they were trying to do something that no one's had really done before, which was like serialized like narrative, like actually telling a story over time.
Yeah.
And that,
boy, did that not work.
it didn't work because they had no real control over like, well, a baseball game is playing during the time slot on the Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So with like that episode might never even fucking air, and it's episode 3 of a 5-parter, like things like
Whoa.
that. So it got really.
It was very like I watched this when it was happening when I was a kid, and this was so my touchstone for this was I always thought X-Men was the team for Marvel, which was so weird to me because then 20 years later, like, no, we're going to build up to the Avengers. Like, the Avengers, that fucking B squad of Marvel teams. Like, who are they? Iron Man, Captain America. Who cares about them? Where's Wolverine? Where's Beast? Where are all these people, right? But I do remember watching this when I was a kid thinking, wow, this is incredible. Because from week to week, it would progress. And then there'd be that one week where a totally different like, I remember I was halfway through like a Sinister arc, and then the Apocalypse arc started. I was like, what the hell? Where did that? What happened to last week? And then my mom would like, go mow the lawn. I was like, you don't understand, Elena. It's a crisis. You know what I mean? They're introducing a whole new bad guy arc here. Savage Land and all this other stuff was happening.
You're like right, like that, like back in the 90s, like X-Men was Marvel's big thing, and it was because they sold all that stuff. I mean, Avengers was always big.
But Kev, even before that though, it's like before the selling, it was big because of this. Like the selling, that was like the 2000s, right? I mean, like
I guess
it
you're
happened in the
right.
90s,
Yeah,
but the movies didn't hit until 2000. But like, this is the reason that when we think or thought Marvel team, it was X-Men. It's because of this.
Well,
show.
this is also probably what spurred Fox to do the X-Men series, right? With Hugh Jackman.
I remember that one
built
beat
into this.
I remember that one beat 'em up arcade game. I was like, why does Wolverine have a brown suit? What the fuck's going on here?
So
and
cool.
Marvel vs. Capcom
so
2,
cool.
they're like they took up 2 character slots in that game, one for blue suit,
But, like,
one for brown.
I want you guys to understand, I never read comic books. This is my introduction to X-Men. So imagine when you're a kid, I'm like, this looks like a cool cartoon. And you sit down to watch. In the first episode, his best friend gets murked by a fucking Gestapo of Sentinels, and then like Jubilee's being chased and all this stuff's and they're all holding up in this mansion. I was like, what is going on? How did I miss all of this? This is wild.
Yeah, I mean, the 90s were a wild time for X-Men because of the show, and then the Jim Lee run of the comics like really took everything that they had built from the 80s and prior. But then it was like this moment of like iconic storytelling and specifically art and the look of like Cyclops being the like biggest, most muscle-bound dude we've ever freaking seen, and just a love for the male body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The male figure.
But you having more recently watched the show, are you excited about this plot-wise?
Plot-wise, yeah, I'm excited about it. I think I'm still so hung up on the animation of it all because it looks good in frames, like when you pause it, but the motion of it is just it's doing that uncanny thing for me. Where it just does not work for me.
Raj, I hear you, and I think I used to be like that. I used to be like you, man, but I've seen through the looking glass now. And if this allows them to make more episodes of this show, I'll accept it.
All right.
Because that was the biggest problem with the original show. It was just such a pain in the ass to get that art style. That's why when you see like a Batman the Animated Series, and that shit released week to week pretty easily. It's so they just went with that simple style, to really nail it. And this way, I just remember being a kid, being like, "Why is this show not going on forever?" And then it just like randomly ended. I don't even told you. I don't think they knew if it was going to be like the series finale. I think it just ended. We were like, we never got any. We didn't have the internet. I didn't know why it was gone. It just wouldn't happen.
I mean, it is very interesting that there was a lot of the Fox Kids Marvel shows that like weren't connected until they were randomly, where it's like there's an Iron Man show, there's Fantastic Four, there's Spider-Man, there's X-Men, and there was a fair amount of crossover.
There's an episode where Spider-Man has to go to, and it's I think it's in Spider-Man, right, where he goes to the X-Mansion and gets trapped there for a second. And then you see Wolverine like being like, "What are you doing here, bub?" And I was like, "What?"
Well, the same thing is true for the Batman animated. Like it doesn't just end. That and the like Superman that was going concurrently. Tail end into the Justice League, which then goes into the Justice League universe, which goes into Batman Beyond. It's incredible.
Yeah. Oh no, they did it great. The DC learned from Marvel here, and they were like, "We're gonna figure this out." Because when Batman had the first crossover with Superman, I was like, "This is we don't need any more. This is the best."
My childlike mind cannot handle this.
I gotta be honest with you, Magneto's voice is one of my favorite voice actors. His voice in the original series was so perfect for that character. Because remember, he's like jacked out of his gourd, but like still had the beautiful like silver hair, silver fox mane. Is this?
I don't remember
Wolverine
like that.
Oh, he didn't have that. He had like it was like
he had it like that.
Slightly longer, but this is way longer. This is like Kurt Russell levels mullet.
I remember they announced at D23 or whatever it was. Actually, I don't remember where. Maybe it was Comic-Con. That it's all the entire voice actor of anybody that's living is back. There was a couple people that they changed.
That didn't sound like the original Wolverine.
I don't remember.
I mean, they're older now, man. This is like 20, 30 years old later.
This guy sounds like he's got his voice is way higher. The original Wolverine was way grimier. Let me know if this is the same guy.
They recast a couple people though, just for like some cultural sensitivity issues. But besides that, I remember they tried getting everybody. But
see, me and Garth only Rogan Wolverine of the original voice actor. Maybe I'm wrong.
I wonder if
it's the same guy. Okay, cool.
It seems like it all drops at once because they're just having the one date there. They didn't say it explicitly, but like they didn't say like episodes weekly or whatever.
I feel like Echo was like explicitly like, "Hey, all of these come out in one day," right? And they didn't do that here, so that's
they did that because they were also doing that on Hulu, and they were trying to make a big deal of like the promotion there. And maybe we'll see this later, but I imagine we'll get them all now. Which hey, this is kind of cool. I love that they're just committing to what this is, which is a sequel to that show.
Yeah.
And also shout out to the Marvel Animation logo, which I think is the first time we've seen that.
Oh, that's dope.
Where it says Marvel and Animation Studios.
Really?
Like I don't think we've seen that for What If, which is the only thing we've had so far, but I like it.
Yeah, I love the colors in this. It's so vibrant.
Man,
so vibrant.
How fun would it be to go back and have to recreate all those title assets for this?
So cool,
like
dude.
4K. God, that'd be so
I'm
fun.
so excited to see the remade intro.
I know.
Oh my God.
That is the most. It's going to be important.
I'm surprised. They could have just done that and just been like, hey,
that's
coming out March. That's it. That's
but
it.
Instead, they did this. And like, this is to me the perfect balance of it was an epic version of the intro, but it still felt like the intro.
Yeah, it was essentially using the same instruments.
Yes.
It wasn't using like a fucking symphony. It was just like, let's use kind of those still old school sounding instruments, like very 90s MIDI type stuff.
Yeah. And that's more fun. The Duke of Dustin puts the quote that I can't believe I haven't talked about yet. To me, my X-Men. Cyclops
that
saying that.
So good.
He's
going to have to become the leader and destroy Magneto.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but
he's gonna have to be
Wolverine
like
in the back being like, this guy. You know what I'm talking about? The Cyclops don't.
It was always a weird little relationship. I didn't quite understand the dynamic as a child.
Well, if it was happening now, it'd be a throuple. They would just right. Polyamory is like, man.
Is that the sound that
Nick's
occurs?
not wrong. Nick's not wrong.
By the way, I want to say I love that when this opens up. Can you scroll us back real quick? And I could be wrong about this. Just go back like maybe 5. Yeah, right here. That's fine. So we see him, and then we don't see any X-Men yet, right? And who's the first person we see in this? Who's the first? Like, what's the first? Keep going.
That looked like Shredder there in the middle.
Keep going.
Probably Magneto, right?
Yeah, at the UN.
Not yet. Boom, right there.
Yeah,
you see that right there?
Little
The
silhouette.
first silhouette we see.
Well,
who was the
we last
bird
see
flying
the
right there?
silhouette?
It's basketball guy.
3 days ago. Super Bowl. Think about it.
Sneaky.
Deadpool.
Is Deadpool gonna come into the universe? You know what I mean? Can I do an animated little thing?
We
I
should
don't know.
do a Deadpool trailer reaction like a year from now.
After the movie's already on DVD.
Well, there we go, man. X-Men 97 coming March. Was there a date? March 20th. March 20th. It's coming out. Very interesting. I'm very excited for it. That was a great way to show off this series. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And for everybody watching, if you're on Twitch, you can just hang out with us all day. You can just stay in the same place. But if you're watching on YouTube, now is the time. I'm going to have you jump over to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. New video for our Xbox business update reactions. If I need every single one of you to jump over there, or else you're not going to be able to see us. You're not going to be able to hang out to us doing our little pre-show before Xbox changes the game, doesn't change anything. We are moments away from finding out, but please join us over there. Make the jump. I'm going to keep saying it. See you there. Until next time, have an excellent day.
All right, I cut. We're still live. I'm gonna stop the YouTube stream now for the Games Daily, and then we will momentarily start it.
Bye, everybody.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
All right, so we're good. We're not